Thank you guys for joining this Mulesoft Meetup. Um, I think it is going to useful. Mostly it will be kind of a some kind of a configuration and administration part. But even it will be helpful for the developers also as a learning basis. It will be you can understand the Mule runtime perspective. So before that, I will just go through the agenda and some overview. Then I will talk about it myself and some leaders over here, and then we will start further today. I hope I will continue for around 1.5 hours nearly. So at the end of this meetup, we will be having some quiz. Maybe you can, whoever is joined for the vouchers, you can grab a chance to win that. So first of all, the community details we are going to provide as part of this Mulesoft Meetup, and then we will introduce about organizers about this Mulesoft Meetup and speaker, and then I will start about the agenda what we are planning to have a discussion today. The main aim of this today's meetup is to configure the Mule runtime in a Google Cloud platform. Mule runtime we can get it from the Mule website. Maybe the companies might have their own Google Cloud, right? The cloud environment. How we can set up a Mule runtime in the Google Cloud, and I'm going to show how we can create a cluster in the Google Cloud, and then how we can use a load balancer to balance the load between these Mule servers. That is what we are going to discuss. That then finally we will have some queries session. Then finally we will have a quiz. And okay, the community where you can Mulesoft meetups. If you want to register, you can go through this URL. And if you want to go through the any Mulesoft trainings from the official website, you can go through this training.mulesoftwebsite.com. Mulesoft has a very huge community now. It is an open source community. You can get a support from the many technical persons and many persons easily. In case of if you have any issues or anything, we have a Mulesoft community forum where you can post your questions so that you can get answers very quickly. Maybe struck with some solution, or maybe struck with some error, just post those messages in the help.mulesoft.com. There is a community where you can get easily. Other than that, Mulesoft always provide their blog with updated information, like maybe new feature whenever they release it, they publish this information into blogs, as well as maybe if anybody learns something in Mulesoft, they can write it the technical article in a blog, so that it will be useful for anyone, everyone. We can get it under the blogs.mulesoft.com. So we know already most of them are already working on Mulesoft, so that you can use any point platform for complete life cycle of API, where design, implementation, maintenance of the API, everything can be, you can do it using the anypoint platform. Other than that, I think Mulesoft recently providing the exam readiness sessions. It will be helpful whoever is planning for the any certifications and all. It's a free of cost. They will be sending emails or notifications and all. You can attend their sessions, so that you will get some more benefit of how you can crack the Mulesoft certifications, those training they are providing. Okay, that is all about community. It is a very huge community, and we know that Mulesoft is growing like anything now. No other integration technology or API tool which doesn't have a market that much, only the Mulesoft has currently. So coming to the, maybe before going to the speaker, I will just talk about the organizers. Gaurav is the one of the organizer over here for the Nagpur Mulesoft forum, and we have a Rajat. I know a couple of more people are there, and today Gaurav is facilitating over here. Gaurav, you want to talk about it something, other organizers and all, and yourself?
Yeah, so I have 2+ years of experience as a Mulesoft developer. Other leaders are Rajat Vishwakarma from Epicero, Ranjit Bhuyar from Persistent, and Dhruva Bose from PwC. So due to some issues, they are not able to join. So I am taking care of today's meetup. Thank you guys for joining. Amir, you can continue.
Thank you, Gaurav and other organizers for giving me this opportunity. First of all, to talk about one of the topic in a MuleSoft meetup. So coming to me, I'm Amir. I'm working for Blue Yonder and having more than 10+ years of experience in integration and BPM tools. I have done couple of more MuleSoft meetups and different topics. Um, I'm in a MuleSoft more than 4 to 5, I think more than 4 years. I'm in a MuleSoft. I have implemented 3 to 4 projects as of now, and I'm always the learner. And whatever I learn, I try to, somewhere I can present so that I can share my knowledge with others also. That is what my fashion about it. So thank you guys again for giving this opportunity for the MuleSoft as well as for Nagpur forum. So before going to our actual topic, anyone has any questions?
Have we started the recording? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Amir.
Yes.
This is RTF on GKE.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a completely runtime fabric, I can say, but it's a kind of a Mule runtime you are setting up. But runtime fabric is something different where you need to buy a license and all. It is kind of a same. It will be, but you can get a leverage of Mule runtime of similar the way of Mule runtime fabric using the cluster and all.
Okay, thank you. Amir, one more question.
Yes.
What you are going to do on the Google Cloud, will it be valid for Azure and AWS and all the other clouds also?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the setup might be different. I know the cloud to cloud, but the similar kind of steps can be performed on Azure as well as AWS. I think someone else was asking some question.
So yeah, Mule runtime and Anypan runtime fabric. So both are different. So runtime fabric is the container, or you can say the Kubernetes, which we are going to. But this Mule runtime, just on the standalone, we are just installing the Mule runtime.
Exactly.
So the same thing which we are going to do on the GCP.
Yes, exactly. So the Mule runtime fabric is a container based, but Mule runtime, whatever we are going to use with the cluster management, is kind of a standalone servers which we are going to build our own clusters.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So I will proceed that, and maybe we will take the questions in the middle also. Okay, so as I said, we are going to create a cluster. First of all, you need to understand what is a cluster and what are the benefits if you are going to use a cluster. Maybe why should I go for the cluster when we have already Mule runtime fabric, right? So the Mule runtime fabric again have a lot of configurations as well as lot of maintenance, and we need to get a license also. Even you need to have a runtime license. Comparatively, you might get a less coster, okay, when you buy a standalone runtime and do. So imagine I have my organization where it is purchased already Mule runtime from the Mulesoft, and they want to set up that Mule runtime in a cloud later point of time. Initially, my organization thought that they will go for the on-premises, but organization have already Google Cloud platform. now they can better availability as well as high availability purpose, they can set up Mule runtime in a Google Cloud, right? Because of they have own already Google Cloud platform, and they got already license for the Mule standalone runtime for on premises, so that now they can go ahead and set up their environment in a cloud, which is they have already in a Google Cloud. So now the cloud, when they are setting up the runtime, they want it high availability. How they can achieve is using the cluster management. They can use this cluster management to get high availability. What is the cluster means? It's a unit of different Mule runtimes. So imagine I'm going to install Mule runtime in two different systems, and they want to club it as a single environment. So they can create a Mule cluster, and they can club it as a single environment. With this, what is the advantage is the load will be distributed in a between the systems. I will give an example. Why do we need this high availability as well as load distribution means when the one of the server, maybe you are going to upgrade, or maybe you are going to bring down the server, or maybe unfortunately it went down, you don't want to lose the transaction. The another server want to take a load. In such a scenario, if you combine this as a nodes and create as a single cluster, it will distribute the load. Even though one node goes down, other node will take it load, and it will process it. The second scenario is, imagine you have a Amazon, where Amazon normally have orders, maybe 1 million orders per day, but they have orders, they have some offers in the next month. So during the offer session, they might get around 5 million orders per day. They want to distribute this load whenever they get a more request for order creation and all. So now if they have a Mule runtime with a multiple nodes, the load will be distributed between these servers. Okay, so that is how it is going to be. You can see that it's going to share the same memory, and it is going to be in a single cluster with a different node. So when I say node, it is a single runtime. And over here you can see the benefit. If it is goes node 2 down, what happens is node 1 will be taken care of all the requests. So I have received 2 requests, but when it is both the nodes up and running, it will one request will go to node 1, another request will go to node 2. But when it goes node 2 down, even the node 1 will take care of even 1 and 2 both the requests.
Yeah, so one question here, the node is instance, virtual instance, or is it Mule runtime?
It is a Mule runtime.
Okay.
Okay, it is a Mule runtime. You can see that over here, node 1 is one Mule runtime, node 2 will be another Mule runtime. Now when the request comes 1 2 at a time, one request will go to node 1, another request will go to node 2. That means another instance of Mule runtime. And when it is goes down one of the node, that means one of the Mule server, it goes down, automatically the first server will take care of both the request, and it will not lose any messages, it will process it. So I was mentioning that when it is compared to the single server, when you use this cluster management so to support more nodes and all, it's going to support more users and improve the application performance by sharing the workload across multiple nodes. That means I was explaining about that Amazon orders, where multiple users are placing the orders at the same time when it is offers and are going on that time, so that it will be they can accept the more request, and they can process it quickly also, so that you can the performance of application will be more better also. Maybe even with a single node also it can accept, but imagine when more users are accessing the same server, what will happen? Your response time might be delayed and all. The page will be loading option will be showing and all with orders and all. So in such a scenario, if you have a more nodes, load will be distributed, and it will be accessible easily. Performance will be more in such a scenarios.
Yeah, but here how you are going to do the horizontal scaling? Suppose that we have only 2 Mule runtime, and in the case of a large number of requests coming on, so we need to increase the load. It means that we need to do the horizontal. So here we need to do it manually now, horizontal scaling.
No, we don't need to do the manually. So what happens is now when you have a 2 servers and within the cluster environment, you are going to create a cluster. You are not going to keep it as a separate servers. That's what we are going to do. So when you create a cluster, what will happen? The cluster will be distribute load between these two, and we can use a even load balancer between these, and if you want to distribute the load between these two also, instead of accessing the direct server, you will use the load balancer between these clusters, so that it will distribute the load between these two applications and the servers.
Okay.
So I will show that how we can do that creation of the cluster, on top of it load balancer, so that how the load will be distributed between these two servers also we are going to see. So for that, to implement that implementation, like different Mule runtimes, and then on top of it cluster, then on top of it we are going to create a load balancer. For this, what are the required things? So first of all, we are going to show this in a Google Cloud Platform. That's why we need Google Cloud Platform. Then we need Anypoint Platform account, and we need standalone Mule runtime. These are the main 3 important things which we need as a prerequisite to build this environment. So the Google Cloud Platform, it is a, you maybe if your organization have, it is well and good. If you don't have, maybe if you want to try to do yourself the practice, you can sign up, but they will get some days of free trial, around $300 free amount they will be providing. So you can try it out, but make sure that you need to disable it once you are not using, otherwise they will charge it on top of it whenever you are going to use more your Google Cloud Platform. This is if you are going to use it for yourself for some practice or anything. And Anypoint Platform, we can sign up for the anyways free trial, so we can sign up for the free trial. And Mule standalone runtime, you can download it for the free 30 days of trial. Once 30 days of free trial is ended, the enterprise edition will be, it will be expired. You can't use it in the any environment. But within the organization might have purchased already Google Cloud Platform, and they might have a good Google Anypoint Platform account also, and standalone Mule runtime also. That will be licensed version the organization buy from the Mulesoft.
So here one question is, are we going to use the Kubernetes or containers in the GC? Nothing, no? We are not.
Nothing.
We are just installing the Mule runtime on GCP.
Yes.
And then from the Anypoint platform, you're just going to, from the runtime manager, you're going to just do the deployment.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are going to use a Kubernetes or anything, again it is kind of a Mule Cloud Platform,
Google,
and
Google Kubernetes.
Yes, that will be again different configurations and different things, and you will be more chargeable for that again. Okay, because of when you are going to use the Kubernetes and all in a Google Cloud Platform, you need to have their services purchased for that again, right? So as much as you are going to use the resources, that much charge is going to charge it in a Google Cloud Platform also. That's why when you want to small organizations and all, they want to go with a very basic environment setup and all with a minimal cost, then you can go with this approach.
So this approach is we are talking about the hybrid environment.
Yes, hybrid environment it is.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So okay, first of all, I'm going to show we need to create a 2 VMs instances in a Google Cloud Platform. So as I said, we are going to create a 2 nodes, that means 2 Mule runtimes Okay, we are going to install first of all. For that you need Mule to be deployed into two different systems, right? So in our Google Cloud we are going to create two different VMs, virtual machines. It is a kind of a, maybe when you are going to set up your Mule runtime in a on-premises, what you are going to do, either in a Linux or somewhere you are going to install your Mule runtime, right? Similarly, in a Google Cloud platform, we are going to create a VM, that is virtual memory, and we are going to install Mule runtime over there. So first of all, you need to have some project over here. If you want, you can create a separate project in a in a Google Cloud platform. If you want to set up as a separate project, you should have some project. So I'm going to use my basic default, my first project. I have already signed up for my Google Cloud platform, so I'm going to use the same project. But when it is run, you are working for any organizations and all, try to create a new project. If I create a new project, I can create a new project actually here. So I can say Mule runtimes, okay, Mule projects or something. But the problem is, when I do this again, I need to set up my billing and all. So I need to enable my billing, so that they will be charging for that. So I have already created one project, so I'm going to use the same project. It is very simple, just new project, and then they will ask for billing. Initially when you are signing up, they will ask your credit card or something, or debit card, but if you are not going to use, they are not going to charge. As soon as you try to practice and all, immediately delete everything so that they won't charge anything. So now I come to this project. Under this you have a something called cloud. You can create a VM instance. So let me go to compute engine. Sorry, under compute engine you can create a VM instance. Go to the compute engine and VM instance. VM instance is something like your laptop, maybe, or maybe separate Linux system or Unix system or anything.
Yeah.
So
actually, it's a Linux operating system we need to
operating
install
system,
it.
yes.
And then on top of that, Mule runtime.
Yes. So I'm going to create a new instance over here. Create an instance. When I click on create an instance, it will ask for instance name. I'm going to say that it is a Mule dev 1. Okay, I want to dev environment or maybe QA, that is a test environment 1 server I'm going to install in this system. So this is one of the VM name I'm going to give. And the naming standards, you can use it whatever you want, Mule instance 1 or whatever you want to use, but I'm going to use Mule QA 1. And then the region you need to select where exactly you are going to locate this VM. So it is better always to select a region where it is near to your more traffic, wherever it is coming. So maybe I'm in India, so I want to give it India location nearby. So I have two locations over here, Mumbai and Delhi. I'm going to give as a Mumbai. And then zone. So in a Mumbai you have 3 zones. Which zone you want to select? Any one of the zone you can select it. Once you select, you can't change these regions. That means your virtual memory or virtual operating system is going to create under this region. And then for the Mule runtime, right, it is always recommended it's 8 GB of memory. So you can select 8 GB of memory. Again, based on the how much load you are going to get and all, based on that you are going to create this. Again, the operating system, how much efficient you have, that much efficiently your server also going to work, right? As it is a practice purpose, I'm going to use it 4 GB of memory. You can see that over here again they are going to charge it $30 per month. Okay, if you are going to keep as it is like this, they will charge it after 30 days. Okay, that's why try to make use. If you are going to practice purpose, use it and delete it. Otherwise, if it is organization basis, and select wisely how much cost effective it is and how much efficient servers you want to build. Based on that you need to select this memory. And over here you can select what are the operating system you want to select. As a container also you can deploy it as a VM also, but I'm going to use it as it is what Google Cloud is providing. and over here you can see the different operating systems it is going to support. So we have a Red Hat Linux and Windows servers and Ubuntu, many things. Windows Server also we have, many things are there. So whatever the operating system you want to use, that operating system you can select over here. I'm going to use Ubuntu, so which is the operating system which I'm going to install my Mule runtime, and it is going to come with a 10 GB of memory. If you want to increase your storage, you can increase the storage also over here. That is like I have a laptop. In the laptop I have maybe 200 GB of open space, right? The disk space, that is what it is going to be. So I'm going to select okay, and then over here if you want to allow the traffic HTTPS and HTTP, both the traffics, if you want to allow in this VM, then you can select this traffic, so that what will happen is it's going to allow the HTTP HTTPS both the traffics into your environment, and then click on create. So that what will happen now, we created one virtual machine with the operating system of Ubuntu. So now this is for one runtime I can set up. If I want to another Mule runtime, what I want to do is I want to create a new instance again. As I am going to create a cluster environment, I should have a minimum two instance of Mule runtimes. So I'm going to use this as another instance over here, VM Mule QA2. I'm going to use it over here, and then I'm going to use again the same pattern. The region, maybe if you want to region to be changed, maybe you might get a load from the different locations, then you can change it accordingly, the different region and different zones also, so that the nearest VMs will receive your request and they will be processing easily. I'm going to keep it as it is, this 4 GB of memory, and then I'm going to use again the operating system as Ubuntu here, and again I'm going to assign 10 GB of disk space. That means I'm creating a two laptops configuration kind of a things over here now, right? So that is what I have done it over here. Let me create. I'm going to select allowing the HTTP and HTTPS traffic over here. Click on create. Now I have a two operating systems which are ready, that is a VM instance are ready. Now my next thing is I want to install Mule runtime in these VMs. So first of all, I think most of you know, right? When you want to run a Mule runtime, or maybe when you want to use a Mule runtime, what is the basic thing it is required? What is the basic prerequisite for that? Anyone? I know that JDK is one of the prerequisites if you want to run any Mule applications, right? So you need to install a JDK in each of these servers. So first of all, I will set up a QA environment. Let me go over here, SSH, open in a browser. So now I'm going to connect with my virtual machine, and I want to access my virtual machine to install Mule runtime. Now the Mule runtime, before installing, we need actually the JDK. The JDK should be installed over here. So I'm going to, so now we can see that SSH command, when you use that, I can open it over here. I can access my VM over here directly, and over here you can see the memory and how much memory it is used and what is the IP address, everything it is showing over here. And I'm going to use a sudo and su -, it is going to be login as a admin. And now what I want to do is I want to install a JDK. Before installing any JDK, try to upgrade your VM with all the configurations, if it is any existing configurations, if it is there. So if you want to update your VM, you can use sudo adp update. This is the command, you can use it to check any updates are there and all. It is going to install those updates for that operating system. So it will take just a very couple of seconds, and then it will install. So you can see one package has been upgraded. Now your Ubuntu operating system is up to date. Now we want to install JDK before installing the Mule runtime. So you can use the sudo adp install Adobe default JDK. So with this command you can install the JDK in a virtual machine. So it is in Ubuntu, so I'm going to use this command to install the JDK. So you can see why I'm going to enter. That means it is asking, should I continue deployment installation or not. I said yes, and it is going to install the JDK now. It will take a minute or a couple of minutes to install a JDK. The next thing is, once it is installed JDK, we need to install a Mule runtime. So how you will get a Mule runtime? I can go to the Mule runtimes over here, Mule runtime, standalone runtimes. You can click on over here. Over here you can see download Mule runtime. It's not Anypoint Studio, only the server you need to download it. So Mule runtime engine over here, you can download the runtime engines. Okay, use this URL to download the Mule standalone runtime. It's required to provide your details over here. If you want to download, I can provide some details. Normally it will ask even name and all. Once I have downloaded, it's not asking again. Over here you can see it is required JDK. That's why we installed in a previous step. In the previous step, if you see that, okay, if you see that in the previous step I have done the installation of JDK already. Now what I want to do is, I want to install Mule runtime. For that, what I can do is, you can download the Mule runtime. So you can click on download over here. When you click on download, the download will start over here. You can see that when it is starts over here, you can wait for complete download the zip file, but it is a very slow process, I can say. Don't wait for that. Also, if you want it to wait and upload the zip, you can do that also. But what I'm going to do is, two ways I'm going to show over here. The first way is, once it is zip file is downloaded, you can go to this button upload, and you can select the zip file, whatever the zip file you downloaded, that you can select it and upload it. And the second way is, I'm going to show the current folder is now root folder. I'm going to go to the home, and then under that, this is my username. So I'm in this location now. I want to directly download the zip file under this location. I can do that also. What you can do is, for that, you can copy this URL over here from this. Right click over, it is started again, pause it. So right click on this link and copy this link. Okay, so copy this link. Now once you copy that, you can use wget, and you can use that URL over here to download directly the zip file under the in the Google Cloud environment over here. So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to use this command to directly download the zip file into the Google Cloud. So it is going to download it into this location under the VM. So it will be very quick, but if you download it as a zip in your local and upload it, right, the upload might take lot of time, because of from your local, it is Google Cloud, you are going to upload a file. So from the directly, if you download it from here, it will take a minute to download completely the zip file. So now you can see 90% is downloaded. So now it is downloaded. Now if you want to see that the file, I'm going to select ls-ltr. You can see under this location the zip file is available right now. Now what I want to do, I want to unzip this file. So if you want to unzip, you need to download, you should have a zip tool, actually zipping tool. For that, we are going to use one of the software over here in the VM. I'm going to install unzip is the tool which I'm going to use it to unzip it. First of all, I need to install it. So I'm going to install it. It is very simple simple tool, so it will be installed very quickly. Now the tool is, normally you have a WinRAR in Windows or anywhere, right? The WinRAR will be used for zipping or unzipping the folders, right? Now the unzip is for unzip or zipping the files we will be using in a Ubuntu. So now I can use that unzip tool for extracting the content of this folder. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use unzip that folder name. So unzip, under the home, my username, under that I have this zip file. Using this command I can unzip all this content. We know in a local, when you download the Anypoint Studio, you right click and you will extract here, right? So similarly, this above command, this command will be used to unzip the complete folder content. Now I'm going to see that file list over here, ls-ltr. You can see now this is the folder it is extracted. When I go inside cd Mule, under this content, if you see how the Mule runtime, the content is there, all the content is available over here. For the better naming purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this folder to Mule folder. Okay, so I'm going to use command mv and I'm going to rename that folder from this folder to, I'm going to rename to Mule folder. Now you can see under this location I have a Mule folder over here like this. Now cd then Mule ls-ltr. Now you can see all these folders are there over here. So I have installed Mule runtime in one of the VM. Now what I'm going to do is I want to configure this Mule runtime in a runtime manager in a Anypoint platform. Now I'm going to go to Anypoint platform. I'm going to log into Anypoint platform. Let me clear this, I don't need. So Anypoint platform, you should have a Anypoint platform. Before that, if you don't have one, you can sign up for one. And I'm going to use this my existing username password over here. Under this I'm going to go to the runtime manager. Even though your account got expired, no worries, you can add a servers over here. You can't deploy any projects in the cloud app, but you can add a Mule server over here. Under servers, what you can do is add a server over here. In the server, what I'm going to add is Mule QA1. This is the Mule runtime, one of the runtime. I'm going to add it. I need to copy this command, and now what I want to do is I want to run this command under the cd, go to the bin folder in a Mule runtime, and I need to run this command over here. Oh sorry, what I did over here, cd current folder is, current folder is this one. I think I didn't copy properly this command. Let me copy this command, and I need to run that command under the bin. So what it does, the Mule agent is going to add your Mule runtime to your Mule Anypoint platform over here with this name. Now you can see this is now it is Mule agent configured successfully. Now if I go to Anypoint runtime, Anypoint platform runtime over here, close this, and you can see your server is added over here. Okay, now what I want to do is, now I want to start this server. If you want to start a server in a bin folder, in the bin folder itself, you can use Mule start. This is the command for starting your server. Now I am going to start my server in a one of the server of what I have configured in a Google Cloud Platform. Just wait for the starting of the server. So it is very simple. Now what are the activities we performed? Install a JDK and download the zip file, extract the zip file, and then once extracted, adding the server into Mule runtime, and then starting the server. It is started. Now we can see. Now if I go to Anypoint Runtime Manager, you can see that now my server is running. That is how we need to configure the Mule runtime over here. Now what I want to do is the same activity I need to perform for the server 2. So let me go to the server 2 instance 2 over here. I have another instance which I created, right? Going to connect that SSH over here. First of all, what I want to do, I want to upgrade any patches if it is available in this VM. I'm going to use as it is the same commands repeating over here. Just wait for this. So I'm going to use this. Okay, first of all, let me log in as admin. SU means super user. I'm going to use super user to log in, and I'm going to use sudo apd upgrade for upgrading the operating system, and then I'm going to install a JDK. It is done. Now JDK I'm going to install over here. I'm going to say yes. It's going to download the JDK. So now once it is downloaded, now what I want to do is I want to download the zip file, right? So I can copy this wget for getting the zip file directly downloaded into VM machine. Just wait for the couple of minutes over here to install the JDK. Okay, it's getting download still. So it will take only the couple of minutes for installing the JDK also in a VM directly. So it is done now. You can see that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the home folder. Under that I'm going to go to the user folder. I'm going to download the zip file over here. The zip file will be taken again a couple of minutes or maybe less than a minute to download the complete zip. Once the zip file is downloaded, what we want to do, I want to install a unzip one, because of this is another operating system, right? That's why we need to install this unzip tool also. Let it download it. So you can see the observation over here, 90%, the percentage what it is completed. It is completed now. I'm going to use this tool for install this unzip tool. Once it is done, I'm going to unzip the package, the zip file. So I can use this command to unzip the folder name, that's it. And then it is unzipped. I'm going to rename this folder to I don't want to keep this 4.4.0 and all. That's why I just removed to the just Mule folder. So now it is under the Mule folder. Now I can go to the Mule folder and build folder. Okay, so I'm in a bin folder. What I want to do is, now the second runtime is also set up. Now what I want to do is I want to add this into the Mule runtime manager over here in Anypoint platform. Add a server. I'm going to use Mule QA2. This is what I'm going to use, the second server name. Copy this command, and then I want to run this command under the bin folder. When I run this, the Mule agent is going to add second server also in a okay, this is, sorry, I'm in a QA1 actually. It is already added already. So let me close it. This is actually my second server. I'm going to run it in the second server. Now you can see that second server also added into the Mule runtime over here. You can see second server also it is added. Now what I want to do is, my second server I want to restart it. I'm going to use Mule command over here to Mule start to start a server, and it will get started my server. Now you can see the second server also started. Now if I go and see that both the servers are running now. Now what I want to do is I want to deploy an application and see how exactly this is working. Okay, I have not created any cluster. I just set up a Mule runtimes over here. So I have a very simple project which I created for this testing purpose. Hello world project over here. Just it accept the request over here and it give a simple response as a hello Mulesoft as a greetings. Okay, so let me create a jar file for this. I'm going to run it in local so that it will generate a jar. So the jar I'm going to deploy it into the my Google Cloud platform. Okay, under users I have this POC. Under this I have my jar file it is going to store. Now what I'm going to do, if I want to deploy this application, I will go to the applications, deploy application. I'm going to say that hello world API, and the target will be, now you can see in the targets, not in a cloud hub. I'm going to add it, I'm going to deploy it in a QA environment over here, QA1. I want to choose a jar file. I'm going to upload a file. It is under my under this NetBook workspace somewhere, Mulesoft POC and hello world API under this target hello world sample file. This jar file I'm going to upload and deploy it. So now when I deploy this project, it gets started in my Mule runtime 1. So what I will do is I'm going to deploy another project also. Now hello world API. So this API name I'm going to keep it as it is, but I'm going to deploy it into the server 2 over here. Choose a jar now. I'm going to choose hello world API application and deploy it. So now what I did is I separately deployed the project into server 1 and server 2. That is what I have done. Now I want to execute this. If I want to execute this, normally what we use, http localhost 8081 hello world. But this is my local host, right? But I want to test it in the QA1 environment. It is my path is /API. Normally this is my path. So I'm going to use this hello, this is greetings. Okay, this is my local environment, but what I want to do is I want to test it in the QA1 environment. QA1 environment is, if you see the host name, this is my host name. External IP you need to use. This is I want to copy. Instead of localhost, I'm going to use this one. But what happens, you can see now it's able to get a response immediately over here. One thing is maybe I haven't shown, but I have made one configuration. When you do the same steps, it will not work the same thing. You might not get a response immediately over here. You need to allow one thing. Go to this VM, one of the VM. What I configured is allow HTTP and HTTPS servers, right? So this is the network level tags. So now what you need to do is you need to allow traffic from that. For that, what you need to do is you need to go to the network configuration, network details, go to the view details. Under the network details, if I go to the one of the policy over here, we need to enable it. Firewall rules. In the firewall rules, if you see that over here, we need to enable the all over here. So default HTTPS edit. So firewall rules details. Under the firewall rules details, it is going to allow all the traffic over here. Or maybe if you want to allow only particular port, you need to select that particular port. Only the particular port will be allowed. By default, it will be particular port. You need to change it to allow all. So that will be in a firewall network rules. You need to change it. So once you allow that, then you are getting a response over here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go to my VMs again, compute engines, VM instances. I want to test my second server also. So this is the second server. Second server IP address is, this is the external IP where I'm going to access my VM directly using this URL actually. So I'm going to provide that host name over here. Enter. Now you can see from this URL also I'm getting a successful response. That means I set up a Mule runtimes, 2 runtimes in a Google Cloud platform, and which is running successfully. My application is also running successfully over here. Clear till now? Okay. So now what I want to do is, this is separate environment. If anybody want to send a request, I need to separately send it a request to these 2 environments separately. And even I want to deploy application, same application, what I did, I'm uploading this jar file 2 times, right? I don't want to do, I want to deploy one application at a time in a 2 servers, so that now it is going to share the same configuration, it's going to share the same memory and the same the resources also. How I can do? Doing that, we need cluster environment. For that, first of all, what I need to do is, I should not have any application deployed into my server. If I want to create any cluster, I'm going to stop a project over here. I'm going to stop this project also. Let me undeploy this jar file. I'm going to delete this. So if you want to create a cluster, make sure that it should not have any application deployed into the runtime. So I don't have any applications now. It is getting deleted. Now I don't have any application deployed. Now what I'm going to go to the servers. Now you can see that I have 2 servers over here. Now these 2 servers I want to create as a single cluster. Now what I can do is create a cluster over here, and I can give a cluster name over here. So I can say Mule QA cluster. So this is the name I'm going to give as a cluster. And the cluster type is, we have 2 types of clusters. One is unicast and multicast. The unicast is something which you are going to, based on the IP address, it is going to route it, and internally it is going to communicate your applications using the internal IP address. So for example, you have 2 applications, from the process API to system API you want to call. Now the system API is deployed into 2 runtimes, right? Now the 2 runtimes it is going to have. Now if you want to call from server 1 to server 2, it will be used internal IP address of each VM. But when you go for the multicast, automatically it detects the IP address and it will route the request based on the available resource. Okay, so that it will take. Now you can see the IP address is this one, which I am going to use it for this. Automatically it will come. And if you want to add any custom IP address, you can add it. If you want to add a custom IP address, you need to purchase some custom IPs from the Google Cloud platform. Okay, now I'm going to use a second server also. This is going to use this IP address. Now what I'm going to do, these 2 Mule runtimes I am going to combine as a single cluster. That is what I'm going to use it over here. So now you can see one more thing is, if you want to do this cluster environment using the unicast, make sure that your server should be in a running state. But if you are going to use a multicast, even though you don't have running state, it will detect the servers and it will create the, you can create the cluster with a multicast without running the server also. But for the unicast running unicast type, you need to have a running state over here. I'm going to use over here create it. Now you can see what happens immediately. As soon as you click on create, your servers will be disappeared over here and your servers will be restarted automatically. You can see it is got disconnected. You can wait for a couple of minutes over here, it automatically create. Now instead of 2 servers, it become a single server and it is going to share the resources internally. Now whenever I submit a request, internally it is going to share those requests. Okay, so just wait for a couple of minutes or maybe I will just refresh it, and you should able to see after certain time these servers will be up and running again. So we will wait for a couple of minutes. So it automatically start the server. You can see again it is running state now, and it will start the both the servers. Now you can see it is running, and over here you can see the servers. These two servers are under this cluster now. Okay, now you don't have any applications or anything. Your two servers become single cluster over here. Now if you want to deploy any applications into this, you don't need to deploy two applications separate, one application in two times. Now I'm going to go to the deploy application. I'm going to give hello world API as my application name, and you can see now that deployment type is over here cluster. I'm selecting, and I can select the jar file over here. Now as soon as I click on deploy, what it does is the same application with the same configuration, it's going to deploy it into two servers separately. So wait for the deployment. Now your deployment will be under the cluster level, so that automatically the cluster will take care of distributing the same jar into two servers, and it get it deployed into two systems. It's kind of a, when you deploy a jar in a Cloud Hub, you are selecting a two VM cores, right? When you select two VMs, that is CPU, what we call deploy, and you will be selecting the two cores, right? Two cores. So two core instances, when you select two servers, it is going to deploy, right? Similar pattern it is. Now it is going to deploy the same applications into the two servers. Now if I go and submit a request into this is the second server. I got a response. Even the first server, when I select and test it, it will get response from the first server also. That is how it is going to work. Now in the real time, what happens, maybe one of the server, this node might be went down. Okay, then my even though if I submit a request, it is going to distribute that using the load balancer, and it be routed to the accordingly. It is going to my cluster is going to take care of routing that request, and available node only it is going to pick, and it is going to transform the request over there. Make sense? Any questions till now?
Can you just reiterate about the unicast and multicast? What are they?
Okay, so unicast is, it's going to resource will be internally connected with a internal IP address. Now my internal IP address is, for the server one is this one, and for the second server the internal IP address is this one. From the process API, when I call these APIs, maybe the system Salesforce API, my node 2 is down. Now what happens is, it's not going to fail, it's going to route it to internal API of this one, that it will be taken care. But in a multicast, what will happen is, it's going to automatically assign the host name, and it will be taken care automatically, detecting the nodes, and it will be transformed. So I will just show in a Mule cluster. Yeah. So in the Mule unicast cluster, we are going to configure that IP address, right? Our IP address it is going to detect, and using this internal IP address, it's going to allow the node to communicate directly with another node. But when it goes to come to the multicast, server is going to take care of detecting the each node automatically, and it is going to take care of automatic detection of the each nodes, and it will transform into the request to the available cluster. and it will be the in a same network segment when it is going to be the multicast. That means it is the both the nodes will be in a same network when you go use under multicast. That time you don't need to use a server you don't need to be started state, because of IP address is doesn't matter over here, because of it is both will be in the same network, and it will take care of detecting each other.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Clear till now? Now what I want to do is I have set up my environment, two servers separately. Then the next step is we have created a cluster. Now how does the node, both the nodes are running now, how does this knows more requests, what request should come over here, what request go to over here. I'm accessing separately using the separate host name, right? It doesn't know. Using the load balancer we can configure to load to be distributed. But I was mentioning till now that if one of the node is down, it will take care of automatically, right? Using the using this node mechanism, the cluster will receive a request, but the cluster will check if the node 1 is available or not. If node 1 is available, it will take the request. If node 2 is available, node 2 also will take a request. But node 2, when it is down, automatically cluster will take care of routing that request to node 1. But I want to be distributed the load separately. For that we use a load balancer. How we can configure the load balancer? So it is a separate server again. It's not a Mulesoft server, some kind of a web server it is. We are going to use it to configure load balancer. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new virtual machine over here, that is for the load balancer. Let me create an instance. Over here I'm going to say load balancer. I can say load balancer, Mule load balancer, or web server or something you can say. I can give this some name over here, and again select the proper, it is a VM creation same as it is I have explained. So whatever it is feasible for you, that you need to select. I'm going to select the same memory, and I'm going to use the same Ubuntu as a operating system over here. Okay, so I'm going to create a virtual memory over here, VM, one of the VM over here. Now what I want to do is I want to install a web server, Apache Apache server. I'm going to install over here, and I'm going to configure the load balancer to route the request to server 1 and server 2. That are the steps I'm going to perform over here. So let it get it install this VM first of all. Then I will connect with this VM. Only the thing is you don't need to install a Mule server or anything. Only you need to install is Apache server one thing, and then you need to create a configuration for the load balancer to go to the request to this server or this server. That are the steps we need to perform. I'm going to go to this SSH, open in a browser. As I mentioned, first of all we need to log in as a super user first of all, and then I will check any updates in operating systems, and you don't need even the JDK also for this. So it is logged in, sudo su -, it is logged in as a super user. First of all I'm going to use sudo adp update, I think so, sorry, adt, sorry. So this is the command, sorry,
I think it is
apd, right? Apt. So I'm going to use, okay, I can use both the commands at a time to install updates as well as Apache server also. If you want to install both the commands, I can install both the times at a time. First it is going to check the updates, then it is going to install a Apache 2 server over here. It is a web server. It is going to be installed into the this VM. It will be very quick once it is install the applications web server Apache 2. What you want to do is, so if you want to enable this load balancer, reverse proxy and all, you need to run some of the commands over here. Let me show you. So if you want to enable the Apache modules, we need to following the commands need to be enabled. Like it is going to be like proxy enabled and HTTP enabled, load balancer needs to be enabled, and by request that LB load balancer methods, if you want to allow, these are the modules we need to install it into the exact VM. So I'm going to run all these commands in the server. So first of all, to activate this new configuration, you need to restart. So I will restart it at the end, and then I need to run this module, another module. This is proxy enabling for the HTTP, and then I'm going to run it. Okay, this is 2 times it is there. Load the balancer, proxy balancer module I'm going to install, and then the load balancer method by request, based on the request, if you want to route it, you are going to do that. So to activate this configuration, we need to restart this Tomcat 2, sorry, not Apache 2. So I'm going to restart that Apache server which I have. It will be restarted with this command. So now what I have done is, now my Apache server is installed, all these modules are installed. Now I want to route the request, right? So in the load balancer, I need to configure to transform the request from this URL to another URLs also. So both the requests, it should be routed. For that, in one of the configuration, we need to change it. This configuration, the load balancer should be pointed to both the nodes. Both the nodes. That configuration we need to change it. Where it is exactly available, it will be under etc Apache 2 sites available. There is a config file which you need to edit the config file. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit that file, and I'm going to copy paste the commands whatever I have currently. Let me go to that this Chrome over here, cd etc Apache 2. Let me go to that location. So this is the location which I want to go. So I'm in this location now. So now if I want to edit any file, we use a vi space this one. Now you can see this is the file by default which will be available. Now what I want to do is, I want to add a configuration where it allows the request to both the nodes. Okay, so this is 443. So this is the load balancer configuration. Okay, so now what I want to do is, I want to add my configuration to allow the request from the both the nodes. So for this, I'm going to add this complete block over here. So it's going to allow 80 as my port number, and the load balancer when it is going to transform, right? Here you need to give the host name of your VM. Okay, so now let me show you that we have over here okay, sorry, it is back. I came. We need to give a the host name of your VM. So what I want to do is, now if you see that I have a VMs over here, right? This is one of the VM host name, the first VM name. That host name I need to give it into this URL over here. And whatever the port number you used in your HTTP listener, the same port number you should give it over here in a 808 place over here. We are using 8081, so I'm going to use it as it is over here, and Control V, and then okay, what is the other host name? This is the another host name which I'm going to copy, and I'm going to enter it over here in the second node over here. So now round robin is going to take care of it here, but if you want it, there is a load balancer. There are different routing mechanisms. There are, one is round robin, and that kind of available list. You can change it that using this configuration itself. Okay, so I'm going to use this configuration as of now. What it does, your request is going to allow with 80 port number, and it is going to route it to these URLs based on the availability. Okay, so once you've done the changes, you are going to use WQ, save it those changes. Once you save those changes, you want to restart your server once again, not a Mule server, only that Apache 2 you need to restart. I'm going to use this command to restart that. Okay, so now it is going to restart. Now if I want to allow my request, I'm going to use this URL to test my application. Previously what I used to do, I used to send a request through the separate node name. Now what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the load balancer URL host name over here, and my port number is, which I mentioned in the load balancer, is 80 over here, and it is API/greetings, and my VM host name is over here. This is going to be the external IP address. Through that I'm going to access it. Control V, enter. Okay, the requested URL not found in this server. Okay.
Oh, you wrote it into the wrong file.
Sorry?
The configuration just you wrote, right?
Yeah.
You wrote into the wrong file.
Is it? Let me open it once again.
You wrote it into configuration.
Oh, this is wrong.
This
is wrong. Sorry. Yeah. So it should be default 00. I think 100. I think so. Let me see that file name. It's 0 dot. Sorry, this is the configuration file which I need to edit. I edited in the wrong file. This is the file which I need to. Yeah, I was thinking it should be 80. It should be there. Yeah. So in this file I need to edit that. I was wrongly edited that file. So let me add my configuration over here. I have configuration over here. I think it is a 4 and 5 is the my IP addresses. Let me get it a confirmation one more time. This is the 4 and 5 is the internal IP address of my two nodes, and I'm going to copy these two lines over here. These are the lines I'm going to copy, and I'm going to add it into the over here. Okay, so this should be under virtual host, which I need to put it. Once I made those changes, then I'm going to save these changes. WQ will be used to quit the file with the save changes. Okay, now once it is done, I want to restart my Apache 2. I'm going to restart again using this command over here, restart Apache 2. So this will be restarted my server, web server that is going to be. Now if I submit a request with the same URL, I should able to get a response. You can see that now I'm getting a response. Now what it does, I have installed a one with virtual memory VM, and then VM I have installed a Apache server, web server. In the configuration I have made a change to route my request to these two URLs based on this. So it is a round robin by default. So when I submit the second time, the load balancer will take care of to transform the request to node 2. Then again, if I submit, it will go to the node 1. The load balancer will take care of how the routing will be done. Again, round robin is going to be worked that way, and maybe if it is not available, there's one of the node, automatically it will transform the request to available node. So that are the steps we need to perform to configure the load balancer also, and this load balancer will take care of to connect these two servers through the cluster what we have in a Anypoint runtime. Clear? So that's it. So we have gone through setting up a Mule runtime in a Google Cloud Platform, then creating a cluster in a Anypoint platform. The configured runtimes will be configured as a single cluster, and then we have learned about creating a load balancer, and that will route the request to the based on the load it is coming. So this is one of the article which is published in a Mulesoft website. Through that I learned, and I did this sample, and I just thought to present this. It might be helpful. Maybe we can do many more things actually using some containers and all, but this is what the basic thing which I thought to show to everybody. Maybe whoever it is, might be it will be useful for some of them. Any questions, guys? Or it is useful, or maybe you understood or not?
Yeah, that was useful. Thank you.
Good. I can take any questions now.
Yeah, Mayor, I have one question.
Yes.
So can you just explain the difference between the server group and the cluster here, considering that we have load balancing as well?
Okay. So I have in the slide itself, okay, or maybe I have seen somewhere. Okay, so the cluster is what it does is it's grouping as all the nodes, and it transform the request based on the availability. Okay, maybe if it is you don't have a one of the node available, it will not fail your application. Okay, but it will still accept another node, and it will process it. When you group a servers, what will happen? Your servers will be within the group, and if your request go to the node 2, if it is node 2 is down, it will not accept that request by node 1. It will fail that request that your server is not available. But when it is in the cluster state, even though it is one of the node is down, it will not have any problem. The request will go to another node, and it will process by the another node. That simple it is. And it is, you can see that it is going to distribute the shared memory. Within that memory, it is going to accept your request, and it is going to process it.
Sure. So if in server group, if one of the server fail, so load balancer cannot help in that aspect.
Okay,
right?
load balancer. Your load balancer is just for sending a request or distributing your request to the certain level. Now, whatever I have done, maybe now in the load balancer I configured two URLs right over here. It try to reach it to one of the URL. If it is not reached, if it is in a cluster state, automatically it is in a cluster state, so your cluster will take care of taking the request by this node, and it will process it. But in a group, what will happen, you don't have a cluster management over there, just it is a one group. Your request will come over here itself. It will it is not a running state. Automatically it will give a response back that it's not available, or maybe a server error it will come.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
If you selected unicast here, right?
Yes.
If you would have selected multicast, let's say. Okay. Meaning we are not going to give the IP address, automatically it will detect, right?
Hmm.
The server
Yeah.
in the picture. So do I need to go and change this config file again?
Yes, you have to. This configuration file is not for the cluster level. This
Okay.
configuration is just for the load balancer level.
Yes. Okay. So I need to change again this
Yes.
config file.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. My second question is, can I use multiple regions for this server?
Yes, you can.
Purpose? Okay. There is no restriction, right?
There is no restrictions. So you have that is a good practice also. Using the multiple regions is a good practice.
Yes.
Imagine I have a server which is in the India location, another server is in US region, where my application mostly used in India and US. Then I will create one VM core in a US, one VM core in a India region, so that
Yes.
it will be more efficient when it is accessing your applications.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And considering this setup in the environment, right? How do we see that? How can you do the auto scaling feature here? Is it possible, or have you ever tried it?
Auto scaling is not possible because
Yes.
of the VM, right? When you are creating a VM, it is a fixed. Even you could have seen that when I'm selecting that, right, VM. When I'm creating, I'm assigning certain memory, right? I assigned 4 GB of memory for this VM, so you can't increase this VM now. Okay, so even though if you edit, right, I don't think so you can edit the memory over here. You can see that over here somewhere. Here you can see you can't edit this.
Okay.
You can't auto scale. You can auto scale using the horizontal. I won't say horizontal, it might be the vertical, because of multiples. You can add one more server into your cluster, but you can't add it into the memory. You can't increase your memory. That means we have a in a cloud hub we have a cores and v cores, right? You can't you can increase the v cores in a cloud hub, but here it is a v core, this one. You can't increase again later, but you can increase the cores, number of cores, by adding a one more VM into the cluster.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Amir, one more question. So, suppose if I now need to change the cluster, right? Suppose if I'm adding some additional cluster, I mean, additional server with some greater memory. So, do I need to stop my all the application, delete them, and then do configuration and then redeploy, or
Okay.
it could be done?
So, if you are going to use a unicast, you have to. But if you are going to use a multicast, you don't need to. You don't need. I think so. I think you don't need to. I think I have read that. I have read that cluster, creating a cluster somewhere. It is there actually in the. Okay, so you can see the server cannot contain any previous deployed. No, even for the both of them, you need to undeploy all the applications. Okay, so you can see the some of the restrictions. If you want to add it a new server instance into the cluster, first of all you need to uninstall all the applications, and the server cannot belongs to any another cluster or group also. So
Okay.
but the server can be in running state or disconnected status only when it is a multicast servers. But when it is a unicast, always your server should be in a running state. Otherwise, you can't create a VM. Sorry, you can't create a cluster. Sorry.
Yeah.
Again, you can see that all servers should be in the same version actually.
Yes. And at enterprise level, so the same license can be used, right, for
Yes.
any
Yes.
number of,
Yes.
or is there any restriction in the license itself?
No, you don't have. I think so. You don't have that. You can use multiple. Because of when you purchase a product for the on-premises, the Mule standalone runtime, you will be purchased with a one license, so you can install that into the different environments, right? Like dev, QA and all. Similar pattern, you are going to use it the same.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? I hope this will be useful, right? Something at least I feel like maybe sharing. So I just shared over here. Gaurav, we want.
Yeah, Amir, we can go ahead with the quiz.
So if you have any questions, I can take. Otherwise, we can go ahead with a quiz and get ready for vouchers. So that's it, guys. The quiz part also.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining,
Thank you.
and thank you, Amir, for your time as well. So hope to see you all guys again. Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.